Zevahim Daf Kof Vav, continuing from Kof Hey Amud Bet, 20 lines down. بعمي ربي زرم ربي أمي برحية بعمري لم ربي أبين بركهنا. That's the question regarding an animal body. هذا التنيا حبرية وخلينا يدين ماشكين. تعرف we said earlier that you could connect food through liquid. حبورة ما كلا. Does that connection work even for a lower level of tuma? بأن حبورة ما حمرا, but there's no connection for a severe level, right? So let's say you have pot. On one side is a nevela, half a kazayit, and the other half a kazayit lies in a different spot, and liquid in between them, connecting the two pieces. So, since technically they're connected by a tuma that is making other food tameh, which is lenient, and not in regarding to like a severe tameh, like this type of food will not make something a person tameh. Um, so therefore, if the food or liquid comes in contact with another something else, it will become tameh. But a person or item touches it, no tuma. Well, in Monin, and therefore Monin Bori Shomishne, therefore to be counted as its first and level degree, like we said earlier yesterday. Well, in Monin Rishon, they do not have first and second level of Mushma. The Gemara says, Marle, Kol Yechad, Adam Monin Bori Shomishne. Anytime the person becomes the man, there's one and two. Any Adam in Monin Bori Shomishne, no person, no levels, like we said yesterday. Okay, next part Mishnah said, Yatsu Elu when people in the back left the Hatzer with the animal body, they also become the men. Front and back. Gemara says, "B'yamei haynos." Gemara says, "Lahalan hu merchutz l'shloshah machanot." Regarding the Kohen Gadol's bull and the community bull for being made a mistake and then people do avirah, the pasuk says that it has to be done outside all three camps. Kan l'machnei achad. Regarding the Yom Kippur and the goat, it only mentions one camp. L'mar lechad teach you kevan she'asah chutz me'achad. Once they leave that one camp, mitmei bagdin they become tamei. Vehigu famina. I know that the Kohen bull and the community bull are outside three camps. The Gemara says to Nimran, "Va'otit l'kol el mechutz ma'achanei." Take it outside the camp. Chutz Hashem machanot, all three. Gemara says, "Chutz Hashem machanot, oinu l'chad." How do you know three? Since like only one. The Gemara says, "Because Shomer when the pasuk also says that para hayda regarding the community bowl michutz ma'achanei outside." Shouldn't say no. I didn't say that. Should I come around because I already said kasher selav it's the paradise like he did the first one, which is also outside. Then lo ma'achanashniya that means telling you you have to go outside the second camp. Yeshua mechutz ma'achanei. Additionally, when this is again outside the camp by the ashes. Shouldn't say not to say that already. Because you already said it should burn it with the other place. Therefore, it must be mentioned in the camp again. The ten Lomachanash she has to be outside three camps. Rabbi Shimon, according to Rabbi Shimon, who holds that he does not learn that pasuk to teach you that, but rather he learns the pasuk to teach you that Tameh as soon as you do the Haser. Jaime Chus Me'achama. After they where to do that work, that pasuk, where it says, "You buy the following." Rabbi Ezra, remember, he just says. The American Husmahaya is mentioned by the Yom Kippur bull and goat outside the camp. The Maran Husmahaya also mentions by the Paraduma outside. Malin Shishama Chus Misham like by the Yom Kippur is three. Afkan Chus Misham by Paraduma is three. Umilan and Mizrach and Shlam I know they're supposed to be by the Paraduma burnt outside of the east side of Yerushalayim. Afka and side just like over there's three outside of Yerushalayim, the east side. Mizrach Afkan so by Yom Kippur also. Mizrach is also by the east. Later on, according to Hamim, they know that you're supposed to, where you're supposed to burn it. When I said, because I know it says, where do you burn them? It's from Yerushalayim, north Yerushalayim. Hosted not outside three camps. We also have the Mary says, no, I bet this is you burn at the place of the ashes. Amarava, Mantana, the particular who argues against Rabbi Saglili, Rabbi Yaakov, he took on Rabbi Yaakov, the 10 verse says, Al Shevach, the Shini is supposed to burn by the ashes. She has Sham Deshe. It must be that ash is already there when you burnt the bill. No, that means it should be ready for pouring, meaning it just has to be a slanted surface. You don't have to burn the ashes there. The Gemara says, maybe they're arguing whether or not you need to be slanted, but you do agree that the ashes have to be burned there. The Gemara says, who burns the body, his clothing becomes tameh. But the person who lights the fire does not become tameh. His clothing. So the person who ranges the fire does not become tameh. His clothing. Who is considered the one who's burning it? The one who's helping the thing burn. He's stoking it, etc. So now you might think even after the body becomes ashes, even so if he helps, his clothing becomes tameh. Otam them. Otam only the body makes it tameh. Everything once become decomposed to ashes does not make people or garments tamei. Rabbi Shimon Omer, or Talmud in Bagdim means no, the body itself makes people and clothing become tamei. Netach habasar everything begadim. But if it became decomposed, there's no tumah. My bad. I was thinking ashes and decomposing. Whether or not if you have a burnt piece of meat, it's burnt crisp. So technically, according to the Kama, it's still considered a body until it's ashes. It's not ashes yet. Rishmon holds it's already considered decomposed, and therefore it would not become tamei. No perek. Someone offers a korban and slaughters a korban, offers it outside the Beit Hamikdash. Chayav for slaughtering it. The Hav also chayav for bringing the korban. Yes, the Gemara says shahab if you slaughter it inside the Beit Hamikdash chaser, and you bring it outside as a korban. Chayav for bringing it outside. Shahab if you slaughter it outside, and you offer it outside patur because because you didn't offer a real korban. Therefore, um, you offered a korban that you just slaughtered outside. It doesn't mean anything. Amrul lo, how he said no. So to someone who slaughters inside and brings it outside, Kevin also becomes pasul when you bring it out. But yet you're still chayav. How does that make sense? Must be that you're chayav even if it's pasul. Someone who's tameh ate either kadosh food that's tameh or kadosh foods while he's tahor, chayav that is tahor, chayav is chayav. Tameh she'achal tahor chayav. If a person is tameh ate food that's tahor, he's chayav. But tameh she'achal tameh patur. But he's tameh who ate tameh, he's patur. Shelo achal ela davar tameh because he didn't eat anything except for tameh. Amrul Hamim said no. After tameh she'achal tahor, even when a tameh person is eating tahor food. Kevin Shenagab Batmuhu. He makes it tameh when he touches it, and he's still chayav. Must be, it doesn't make a difference. Next. Ba'tahor shachal tameh. Someone who's tahor ate tameh food, patur is patur. She'eno chayav ala guf, hatuat guf, because he's only chayav for eating something that is tameh from when he's tameh in the body. Okay. Bishlam ma'ala makes sense in the Mishnah's case that when he offered it up, it's chayav. Because Pasuk mentions a warning and asur. Onish, the punishment says, the Petach Ol Moed lo yvi'enu. As the warning is, Hishamar lecha pen ta'aneh lo techa. Bechad al-marabin marabei lazar. It's according to what he said. Kol makom shamar hishamer pen ve'al. Anytime it mentions the word hishamer means be careful. Pen, lest you do not. Or al, don't. Enu lo taseh, don't lo taseh. And therefore, the word pen over there is asur. Regarding slaughtering, Bishlam Onish, I know it's not to slaughter outside. The thief, the Petach Ol Moed lo yvi'enu. That's I mean I know the warning. Mark up, it says lo yizbechu od. Whereas one second, you need to pass something else. Tamar, he says, I don't know if you slaughter an animal or an avodah zarah, it's like markolis, which markolis is a animal that you avodah zarah that you throw stones at. That's how you serve it. Throw back to avodah zarah. Throwback Thursday. You serve markolis by throwing stones at it. So how do you know that even if you slaughter an animal, you're chayav? And the logic behind it is that it's since you're doing something that's showing kavod, like slaughtering an animal, you're chayav. Pasuk says the tip, "V'lo yizbechu oreb zivcheihem." In Elon Yan, obviously, if you're slaughtering it, that's the way you're supposed to serve it, then you're definitely chayav. The tip yavdu. Pasuk already says you can't serve. In must be you can't slaughter even if it's not the normal way of being served, like Mark Lewis, which you're supposed to throw stones. So we need this pasuk for something else. The Gemara says, "Maraba karibe v'lo yizbechu." This says you shall not slaughter. Ukribe v'lo od, and also mentions no longer. Two different Isurim teaching you two different halachot. Okay. But one second, that episode also means something else. Ad kan hu medaber, until that point Ras speaks, bekoshim sheiktishan beshat isur mamot. Of korbanot that was kadosh while they had bamot, which is, well, the bamot were asur, which is, you weren't allowed to have mizbeach outside the Beit HaMikdash. Then he also offered it while it was asur to bring a korban on a bama. Sharei on more because of that. Punishment mentioned in the Torah by saying regarding the Omued, as you can bring it. As I know the warning over there. The thief, and therefore from then on, after that, it was talking about a case of korban that you was kadosh while you were allowed to bring on the bama. But then you offered it when it was no longer, right? So let's say we'll talk about two different stages. Was before they had the Mishkan or Beit HaMikdash, you were allowed to have a personal bama, a personal zbeach. So let's say you made it hekdesh at that point, and then you offered it when they already had the mizbeach, and therefore you're no longer allowed to use the bama. Shnei says למען אשר יביאו בני ישראל זבחיהם אשר הם זבחים. זבחים שתרתי לך כבר. It's one cases where the korbanot they were wanted to slaughter means the korbanot that were already mutar. Al pnei hasdeh on the field. מה I teach you? Hayzovech b'shat yisur b'mod. When you slaughter it, when you're not allowed to have it b'ma, ma'aleh ha'ktuv ki ilu hekriv al pnei specific you put on the field. Yani it's for avodah zarah. Ve'evim la Hashem, then you say you bring it to Hashem. Zoom says it's a positive commandment. Lo ta'asim minayin hinu tasur. Tamad Amar v'lo yizbechu od yachol ya'anosh karet. I think we karet for slaughtering outside. Tamad Amar this should be a sword for them. Zot lahem, only punishment for doing the aseh and not aseh. Not this type of punishment. So we see from here the word of it's teaching you that the korban outside the Beit HaMikdash while the bama was mutar. And therefore you can't bring a proof that it's talking about a korban outside the Beit HaMikdash when it was a sword. So what's the source? In the case where Torah did not punish you for karet or slaughtering outside, it still gave you a negative commandment. So in the case where the Torah did punish for slaughtering, for sure it's asur negative as well. Where it says, that's the case, that's the case, that you're able to do that. The Torah should not have mentioned a lav and isur by eating halev, which is isur fats. We say learn the kavachomer for nevela. In the case of nevela, Torah did not punish with karet, but still say you not do it. Halev shenanash inudin zizir. So if it's by the Torah, where there is a punishment, so for sure there's a negative commandment. But we still need a commandment. Torah mentioned it. You can't bring a proof from nevela. Because nevela is different because it can give nevela, it can give tuma. So therefore, since nevela is stricter in that regard, you can't bring kavachomer to chelev. Okay, Misha, so you not bring a proof from the sharatzim, the insects and proof qualities that are tameh. Right? A sheretz, it's tameh, it can transmit tuma even in a tiny amount. It doesn't have to have a minimum. And therefore, since it has this stringency that held not, you can't bring a proof from there. Where it says, okay, so bring a proof from sheretz that are tahor. But again, it doesn't work. Again, they also have isurim in a minute amount. Okay, fine. The orla, they can bring a proof from orla or kila kerem. Orla is a fruit growing from a tree that was planted within 3 years, and kila kerem is a kilaim mixed breed vineyard with something else like wheat. But the problem is you can't bring any proof from that isur because man the orla kila kerem shekin isurin out. That's also part of benefit. Nevela is not the more says mishvi bring proof from shemitah. But again, it doesn't work. Man Shvi'it, it came to Festamea. The Isur of Shvi'it transfers over to money, right? Most Isurim, when you buy it out, the money doesn't become Tameh or transfer the Isur there. However, Shemitah, if you buy out Shemitah, that thing is considered Shemitah as well. Okay, so let's bring proof from Mitzvah. The Gemara says, no, you can't bring proof. Shekin Lo Tarmitah because there's no exceptions. All right, so the Halev does have exceptions. The Halev of a kosher wild animal is mutar, but not domesticated, not. Turma, however, is always a sword to non-coin. Or it says, Mikulu Nami, you know what? You could bring, and you can't bring a proof from even any of them above, Shekein Lo Hotun Mikala, because there's never exceptions to any of the rules. Let's stop here.